Hey guys, and welcome to the Inner Horizons show with me, your host, Freddie Brown. So today I'm going to talk about why and how and what suppression in men looks like, what it is, and how we can really try and overcome that. So suppression happens when we are taught that when we're very young, that the emotions that we're feeling aren't welcome, and subsequently we're not able to get a particular emotion we need from someone else because we've shown that emotion and we learn that, so therefore that emotion is not going to get us what we want. And these tend to be things we really need, like affection, like physical touch, like feeling accepted, and a lot of things that a child really needs if they're going to feel like they can fit in to the social circle in which they are currently in, and that they don't necessarily see any way or need to leave. And so it's really a coping mechanism to be accepted. And what tends to happen is we tend to put these emotions like anger, like vulnerability, like shame, we tend to put them in what Carl Jung calls our shadow. And just to give a bit of context, the shadow is a collection of emotions, personality traits, desires as well, that we don't feel like will be accepted or seen in a way that is positive by other people, so that therefore we hide away. And where we hide them is inside our shadow. And so what happens because we hide these emotions is not that they just disappear, they end up acting out unconsciously. So I'm sure we all know, for example, in the context of anger, for example, we all know someone who is very explosive in his reactions, very reactionary to start with, and the communication is very aggressive, and that they are just not able to be aware of how this particular way of communicating and enacting himself through the world is harming others, and in fact himself, because it pushes people away. And so what often happens in this case is not that this man is aware of his anger, but actually, in fact, he has no relationship to it whatsoever. And that's why the anger then comes and takes control of him, because it needs an outlet. And what this anger was initially for was to set boundaries, to protect him. But because he has ignored that anger and ignored that emotion in order to fit into this social dynamic he needs to fit into, to feel belonging, he's going to hide that anger away. And because of this, the anger will then come out. But it's because men don't have a relationship to their anger that their anger then takes control, and that they're not able to set boundaries in a way that doesn't build resentment. Because when we don't have that protection mechanism, which is anger's purpose, then we don't defend ourselves when people disrespect us, when people do things we're not okay with, when people step over our boundaries, and we're often not even able to set our boundaries in the first place. And so what happens here is anger and resentment, build up. And then when we have so much resentment built up, then anger eventually becomes the mechanism through which it expresses itself more chronically. And this is when anger becomes unhealthy. And I'm sure we all know people in our lives where anger is expressed in that unhealthy manner. And so I really want to invite you to gain a sense of what relationship you have to anger. Because if you don't get a sense of that, it will express itself in a way that will harm your relationships. It'll harm your capacity to feel that self-worth that comes from having boundaries with other people. And just the act of setting boundaries builds trust within yourself, towards yourself. And when you aren't able to do that, then you don't just build resentment outwardly, but you build it inwardly towards yourself, and that eats away at your self-worth. So I really want you to gain a sense of, where is this anger located inside of me when it happens? And so to do this, I just want you to we're going to do a short exercise. So just make yourself comfortable, roll your shoulders, and take a deep breath. And one more, and if you're comfortable, let some sound out with your exhale. Closing your eyes. Feel your feet flat on the ground. Feel the sense of weight on the floor. If you're sitting down on the chair. And just notice what's moving for you right now in your body, in your nervous system. Do you feel any tension? Do you feel anything else? And I want to invite you to think about something that really pissed you off recently, that really made you angry. And so now, rather than focusing on the event or the person or the particular thing that made you angry, I want to invite you to really focus on the physical manifestation of anger in your body. So notice, where is that anger appearing in my body? For a lot of men, it will be in their bellies. For some, it will be in their shoulders. And really sit with that. And breathe into it if you can. And notice what it's like for you to connect to your anger in this way. And really breathe into it and let yourself be affected by your anger. Don't lean away from it. And if your mind starts speaking and trying to take you away from it, just notice that and focus on the sensation again. So another deep breath. So I'm going to give you some sentence stems here. And all I need you to do is finish the sentence off that I started. So another deep breath. I most often feel this anger when. And I'm worried that if I express it, I will. As a boy, when I expressed my anger, this was met with. And not being able to express my anger now has meant that. So just taking a deep breath here again. And let yourself be affected by what's going on inside of you right now. If I were to express my anger now, I'm afraid that. And the way I most often hide my anger is. connecting to my anger in this way has felt. And I have learned that. So again, just taking a deep breath here. And giving yourself an exhale. And opening your eyes slowly and coming back to the room. So quickly again, just how do you feel right now? What's going on in your body right now? So this is how you can really connect to your anger in this way. And if you're able to do this, what you will actually manage to do is connect to a new source of energy that can really lead you forward, that can really give you more impetus to go after the things that you want, but also to put in place some things like boundaries with people that maybe you need to in order to feel good about yourself. Because again, when we don't do these things, it eats away at our self-worth. And we might think that our self-worth has to do with our relationships with others, but that's more a symptom. Our relationships with others are a symptom of what's going on. And the cause is really the relationship we have with ourselves and everything that's going on inside of us. And once we gain a deeper sense of awareness to those things going on inside of us, we can actually gain a deeper sense of choice over how we react and how we want to be and how we build our lives. And for me, that's really important, and it's been a really important in my journey, and I'm still bang in the middle of it. And but I've gained such a deep sense of richness since then, and I know that if you start this, you will as well. So that's it for the first part of this series. So this one was on anger, but I also want to do it on resentment, vulnerability, and fear, because those are also things we hide away and things that we need to connect to in order to harness those things so that they can be used in the way they were intended. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give me a like and subscribe if you did. I'm just starting out, so that would really help me. Yeah, sending lots of good vibes, and thank you so much again for watching the video. Cheers.